Much like what's happened in our food system, our information diet has become toxic. The news and social media we consume is filled with half-truths, anger-generating sound bites, and mind-numbing nonsense that either spaces us out or riles us up, and it's all designed to lure us back for more. It's time to take back control, and this podcast is a 5-minute step in the right direction. 3 days a week, I'll share a short story to help renew your belief in the people and the world around you. Monday, a story from the past. Wednesday, the present. And Friday, you'll head into the weekend with a story to keep you optimistic about our future. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to My Good 3. Hey, happy Wednesday. As many of us plod along through our busy lives, grinding out long days at work, raising families, and trying to reach our next goal, it's easy to take for granted the people working in often low-paying jobs, keeping all of us comfortable. I'm not talking about firefighters, policemen and women, EMTs, or military service members. It seems like we do a pretty good job of reminding those people just how much we appreciate their service. A group we often forget are the ones who spring into action when the comfort we all enjoy in our businesses and our homes is interrupted. I'm talking about the utility workers who are responsible for keeping the heat, power, and water on. The ones who keep us watching our TVs and microwaving our popcorn in comfort. This is a story about one of these workers who, a few weeks ago, after several days of working in the snow to help restore power, who was likely cold and exhausted, went out of his way to acknowledge a completely different group of people. And he did something special for them, to say thank you for their service. On January 5th, a significant snow and ice storm rolled through the Midwest, knocking out power to more than 100,000 residents in Missouri, southern Illinois, southwest Indiana, and northwest Kentucky. Bone-chilling cold behind the storm meant that utility crews were in a race to restore power to these homes and get people's heat back on as quickly as possible. One of the hardest hit areas was Marion, Illinois, a small town in southern Illinois, a few hours' drive from St. Louis. Families did their best to stay warm with generators and fireplaces while crews cleared trees and fixed lines. The crews in that area were working for Ameren, Illinois, the area power utility. Many of these utility workers make modest salaries, but during storms like this one, where thousands of people have their power interrupted, linemen work around the clock and often receive overtime pay, which goes a long way in helping them make ends meet. By the morning of January 8th, Ameren, Illinois crews had been clearing trees and fixing lines for over 60 hours. A large group of linemen, looking for a warm meal, headed to Riley's Smokehouse, their favorite Marion hangout. The place was busy. They enjoyed their breakfast, drank hot coffee, and talked about the work they had been doing. For the other patrons, it was suddenly tough to find a table, with the line workers all arriving in a short period of time. One of the smokehouse regulars was Charlie Kemp, a retired Air Force veteran from Marion. He and 7 others, a group of local Navy, Air Force, Army, and Marine Corps veterans, meet at Riley's Smokehouse every other week to catch up and talk about their days in the service. On this morning, when they arrived, they were shocked by the large group of line workers filling the place. They waited patiently and were eventually seated at a table. When it was time for the line workers to get back outside and continue their work, they finished their meals, paid their checks, and shuffled out of the restaurant as a group. However, before leaving, one line worker headed over the table where the veterans were sitting. He introduced himself and, because he recognized them as veterans, wanted to thank them for their military service. They had a pleasant exchange, with the veterans also thanking the line worker for his service. Later, the group of veterans finished up and they asked for their check. The server returned and said she had great news. That the line worker they had spoken with, just as he was heading back out into the cold to repair electrical lines, had paid the entire check for all 8 veterans. We thank people for their service almost automatically when we see someone in their military uniform in a line for food at the airport, or when we see a fighter at the grocery store. And they deserve to be reminded how much we appreciate their service. But we forget there are a lot of other people out there making sacrifices. This thoughtful line worker was just one of a solid group of men and women out there who don't think twice about doing their job. They say goodbye to their families, load up their gear, and drive into a freezing cold, storm-ravaged area to work for days at a time, doing whatever is required so the rest of us can kick up our feet, open our bags of popcorn, and surf the internet in the warmth of our own homes. Thank you for listening. I realize this podcast won't be successful without your help. So if you'd like to rate it, or better yet, review it, wherever you get your podcasts, that would really help. And if you're on Instagram, go to @mygood3, THREE, to vote each episode up or down. I'm also excited to read more Good 3 stories from listeners. So just go to our website, mygood3.com, and submit a story of your own from the past, present, or future, or all three. And maybe I'll use it in an episode. Thanks again. Here's to hoping My Good 3 can set the stage for your good week.